up, everyone? Welcome to the BDE Sports Talk Podcast. Here to give you the latest scoop in the world of sports in the great state of Michigan and the great city of Detroit. On tap this week, we have a crazy amount of things to get to that we've been gone for the last 2 weeks. We've got news on the Red Wings and if they have made the team better, the Pistons with a ton happening within the franchise, and as always, the weekly Tigers update. I am Bill, one of 3 co-hosts, along with the D and E of the BDE, Dean and Eddie. Fellas, we're back. We are back. How you doing?
Still doing good.
Feeling refreshed and just ready
feeling
to roll.
Ready to roll. I feel refreshed as well.
You look refreshed. Check out the fit, bro.
Oh,
that fit is electric, dog.
Let freedom ring. I call this the America fit. I had nothing else. I didn't.
Yeah.
1776. I don't know. So, well, fellas, what an eventful couple of weeks since we recorded last. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the Red Wings. A ton of moves here in the last week or so. Coming in today, they signed Vladimir Tarasenko, the left-handed forward, to a 2-year, $9 million deal. Last season, 76 games, had 23 goals, 32 assists for 55 points, and a plus 13. That was with Ottawa. Got traded to Florida, won the Stanley Cup. No big deal. We got a Stanley Cup champion on our team. Also,
not the only one.
Not the only one. They traded Robbie Fabry and a 2025 4th-round pick for goalie Gage Alexander. We will get your thoughts. I just want to run down some of these. They re-signed Patrick Kane, 1 year, $4 million. Christian Fisher, 1 year, $1.25 million. Perron and Gostisbehere are gone. Perron went to Ottawa, Gostisbehere to Carolina. Shocking. I don't know how shocking it was, but shocking. Wallman got traded to San Jose, and they also signed Eric Gustafson to a 2-year, $4 million deal. Jack Campbell to a 1 year and $775,000 deal, and Cam Talbot 2 years, $2.5 million a year. Fellas, a lot going on, right? It's been quite the week. How you guys feeling? Well, I mean, initial thoughts on Tarasenko, but also trading Fabry away and re-signing Patrick Kane.
I like it. I mean, I had said when we had originally talked about who we thought their biggest re-sign should be, I had said Patrick Kane was one of the guys I think they should really try to target. I do like his contract too. I mean, if you really look at it, I mean, I was surprised he took the 1-year deal because I figured if he was going to go anywhere, it'd be on a multiple year deal. You know, it seemed like that was just the way it was going. I mean, who doesn't want to have long-term, commitment and security? But yeah, I really liked it. Signing Tarasenko. It's pretty huge. They needed somebody to replace the scoring they lost. I mean, originally I had written down before I saw, because I just saw that they signed Tarasenko today.
I mean, that just happened this afternoon.
Right. Yeah. And originally I was going to say, it looks like their bottom 2 lines will still probably contain their younger guys that they had in Grand Rapids. And I was going to say that they, it looks like they're just trying to fill in those needs and really have either high hopes on their younger guys or, because they played so well last year in Grand Rapids. I mean, you can only develop them so much, right? But overall, it was good. Plus, they're still waiting on Lucas Raymond and Sider to sign, so they're being a little bit more patient. But I thought that was a really good signing. They replaced their scoring with Tarasenko. Bringing Kane back was huge. Just thinking about them on the same line would be pretty awesome. So overall, I thought they got better. The only concern I really had was I don't know who. I didn't see that they traded for Greg Alexander. I'm not sure who he is. Gate, whatever. Obviously, then that proves my point. I don't even
Another
know who
goalie.
he is.
He'll probably be a Grand Rapids goalie. I mean,
Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he was like somebody because I know Talbot is pretty much supposed to. I mean, he'll probably be our. He's a little bit of an upgrade, but I think it's kind of more of the same as what we've seen with Husso and Lyon. I mean, obviously, you're going to trade one of those guys now. You assume try to get something for him. But that was my only concern. I mean, obviously their bottom two lines they're going to be younger guys that, I mean, I know they re-signed Fisher and I can't remember who else was on those bottom lines, but those top two lines are, I mean, top tier in the NHL. I mean, I think they improved heavily on this one.
yeah, I don't know. Perron and Gustus Bear gone. That was a bummer.
Mm.
And especially at the time, like you said, I mean, we just got Tarasenko this evening. So when we're recording, obviously everybody knows it's Wednesday, the day that they got him. And so I feel like Tarasenko probably replaces some of the points that we're losing from Perron. It's basically a small upgrade from Perron.
Yeah.
I would say. Not a huge one. I mean, now if it was 3-4 years ago, sure, that'd be a massive addition. And honestly, probably a move they could have made at the deadline, like Florida did. But it's neither here nor there. He's an upgrade for the team. That's good. Wallman traded. That kind of surprised me a little because he was one of our top 4 defensemen. Good chemistry with Seider, and I thought it was a salary dump move. Which ended up being confusing because then to go out and not really make a significant signing after that was surprising to me, and that includes the Tarasenko. Like that's not that. It's something, but it's not that significant either to me. But I guess it's kind of like it feels like we're kind of in the Tigers route right now. So next year's like Casper, Edvinson, Soderblom, or Berggren is kind of like your Torque, Green, Parker, Meadows. Going into the next year, and you just hope they don't flop the way it happened for the Tigers this year. That's how I kind of see it. Gustafson, nice signing, good defenseman. Again, we're missing points on the blue line, losing Gostisbehere, but it is what it is. I mean, better defense. Campbell and the Talbot. Obviously, Campbell, he'll probably be in GR. Also, that's I'm like, why are we loading up on all these goalies who are like fringe NHL goalies?
Mm.
It was confusing to me because we feel like we have a million of them now. Between the guys we had like Hutchinson, Kosa, those guys already who were kind of fringe, and then you add Campbell and then Gage Alexander. It's like, how many goalies do you got? I mean, I like Talbot because he's like, I agree with you, Dean, completely. He's more of the same. He could be better. He has been better than our best guys sometimes. So I think it kind of rounds it out. It's probably better to have Husso, Talbot, Lyon than it is to have instead of Reimer.
Yeah. And to add to the Talbot thing too is he had a pretty good season last year, but he was on a team that had the least goals shot on him throughout the entire season. So now he's on, a team where the defense probably isn't going to be as good. So it'll be interesting to see if he can pull off this, at least something like he did last year at the very least.
Yeah. Well, he started out hot last year. It's what I was reading. I mean, I didn't watch him play.
Right. Yeah. That wasn't
other than when he, I don't even know. Yeah. Yeah. So they said he started out hot and then he kind of fell off. I'm like, okay, that's fine. If we can rotate him and Lyon, if Husso's healthy, he's probably as good as those guys. So we'll see. Hopefully it just bides time, and hopefully Kosa actually makes the development that he was drafted to make, and it happens, or it doesn't. I mean, what are you going to do? The last thing on it was Kane. That wasn't a huge surprise because 2 days before free agency, he was saying Kane was his top priority. And then it came out that he was resigning the night before free agency started. I mean, I love watching Kane play. Glad he's with us. It was a little disheartening though when I heard Yzerman say it for free agency, because that signaled to me that Stamkos was off the table. And seeing that Stamkos signed with Nashville and saying that Tampa Bay was basically no longer an option based on conversations he was having with Tampa, the best natural fit is coming here. But Yzerman is kind of averse to signing those longer term deals. And it was only 4 years for Stamkos in Nashville, but Yzerman doesn't love that, and Stamkos is, I think, 33,
something like that. Yeah.
So I mean, 4 years isn't that crazy, and I'm sure that's what he was looking for, his last contract. Either way, glad to have Showtime back. I mean, if we had lost out on him and Stamkos, you'd have a pretty rough sell to me personally. Yeah. That we're better
for sure
than last year. So interesting deadline. I really thought maybe they'd make a trade based on what's happened, but I mean, you got to trust it. The thing is with Yzerman is we keep getting a little bit better, and so if that happens, then okay, like we're fine.
Right.
But once it starts to falling, I mean, it was a soft bubble to get into the playoffs this year too, and we got as close as you could get and still didn't get there. So it makes me a little hesitant because I don't feel like we're that much better, if at all.
I agree.
Personally. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, the moves that he's made are fine. I agree that they may have gotten a little bit better. As almost in some ways is our lateral moves. I feel like you get rid of someone, you add someone. I mean, obviously that's just part of the game, but like you said, Wallman being the top 4 defenseman, trading him away. Of course, I mean, I did see that he was like a healthy scratch the last 10 games of the year.
Yeah, maybe he wanted out.
Who knows what's going on there. I was a little bummed about Gossesbear not coming back because he was so good on the power play. Them signing Tarasenko, I do feel better about free agency. I do like the signing of Talbot. He was deemed to elaborate on those stats. He had the 7th best goals against average and 9th best save percentage in the NHL last year, and that was starting 52 games. So, definitely better than what's his name, Eddie? You said
Reimer.
Reimer, thank you. Better than Reimer. It does create a huge logjam in goalies.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to play Kosa a lot more. I mean, he played quite a bit, and he played well towards the end of the season in Grand Rapids. I think Talbot's more kind of a stopgap for Kosa for the next year.
The hope.
And we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Right.
I think Kosa's pretty good, and he definitely improved as the season went on. So that's very promising.
Well,
The
it's
problem
one of those
is
positions that really takes time too.
Yeah.
Right.
Historically.
Right.
But
it creates a logjam because you have Campbell, you have Husso, you have Talbot and Lyon all on the team. Hutchinson. And I mean, obviously Hutchinson,
Hutch.
I would assume he's probably gone.
The good Hutch.
He starts opposite James Houston. I don't care what you say.
But are they going to carry 3 goalies? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't remember that happening, I guess.
Maybe they know more about Husso's injuries than we do.
Right.
I mean,
I do understand why they traded Wallman somewhat, but not, we talked about top 4 defensemen on the team. Not resigning Gostisbehere leaves Edvinson, Sider, Gustafson, Mata, Sherratt, and Petrie as your 6 defenseman. Hall's in there as well. Wish they could have gotten, a top 4 defenseman.
I mean, Gus, I guess that's the one.
Right. Which that's, from what I'm not a
scorer.
huge, I'm not a huge Eric Gustafson, fan. So I haven't really watched him. I don't know.
From what I've read and looked at, because I wouldn't say that I've watched him either, is that he's a solid defensive player.
Right.
Like that's what he'll do. He'll be out there. He'll play some D. Don't expect him to chip in on an assist or a goal like Gostisbehere per on a regular basis.
Right. So, and I guess we'll see with the goalie situation, and maybe he's looking to. Goalies are, they tend to overpay goalies. Not Detroit. I'm talking about the NHL in general. So maybe he's just looking at something, and maybe he's, I don't know,
just weighing his options.
Yeah. So we shall see. They're a little bit better. I don't know.
It's so hard to say.
I do like that Patrick Kane's back though. So
did you see the incentives in his contract though? Two of them had him in, like, if they make the playoffs, he makes X amount for two of the what do you call it, the scenarios or whatever on his.
One of them was big. One was like 500,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like 500, 600,000 if they make the playoffs and he plays like 60 games, something like that.
Well, and
worth it.
Well, and someone did bring up too a whole off season of him not having to, worry about injury and things like that.
Hopefully, I mean, the stats don't necessarily line up in his favor. We had a losing record with him in the lineup and a winning record with him out. I don't think it's necessarily because of him, but I was big on Stamkos. And I think that's kind of what happened. And I mean, I'm not going to dog Patrick Kane. He's great. Every time I watch him, like, that dude's awesome, right? I mean,
and they brought in Datsuk to help with developmental as well.
Yeah,
if you guys saw that.
The Magic Man.
Stud.
So,
yeah,
let's move along and let's get into some Piston stuff. A lot has happened with the Pistons over the last couple of weeks. Hired JB Bickerstaff, gave Cade the max rookie contract, 5 years, $226. They traded Quentin Grimes for Tim Hardaway Jr. and 3 second-round picks. What do you know? You get rid of Troy Weaver and we start getting second-round picks back. Trade the 53rd pick for the 37th pick in Wendell Moore Jr. Declined Evan Fournier's team option. Wiseman ended up signing with the Pacers. Drafted Ron Holland, and I think it's Bobby Clintman. I actually, just to give my 2 cents here, I have faith that Ron Holland can actually develop a 3-point shot. Not
him and Beef Stew, man.
Yeah,
him and Beef Stew be working together.
You know what? To Beef's credit, his field goal percentage from 3 was higher this year than it's ever been this past season. But he also took less 3-point shots.
I'm just saying,
so,
it's coming along.
That's good.
The developmental is coming.
It means he's fitting the role that he was supposed to be in after. Anyway, we could rehash that a million times.
He may not even be here. I've seen scenarios of him getting traded.
Yeah,
no.
Holland shot only 24% from three in the G League, still averaged 20.6 points, even with not a great 3-point shot, which is very promising. I think he could be a great core piece for the squad. Obviously that's yet to be seen, but I mean, it's a lot of, not a lot, I shouldn't say a lot, but quite a few draft people had him going number one.
At one point,
he was their best prospect. The other thing was they signed Tobias Harris, 2 years, $52 million. Fellas, do we have ourselves a playoff squad?
I think it would be a miracle if they made the play in. That would be an absolute miracle if they did that. I do think that I agree with you on Ron Holland, Bill. I'd seen a lot of stuff where people were kind of iffy on him. It shows that Langdon doesn't care about winning. I mean, he wants to win games every year. But I'm saying this year is definitely, you have to chalk it up to a developmental type of year. I mean, you can't. I mean, you drafted a guy that every scouting report I've read says he can't shoot. So and that's really what you need the most of is shooting. But he's also a lot of people have him projected to be possibly the best prospect in the entire draft. And if you're going to take a guy like that, and then you're obviously not thinking about winning right now, right? I'd also seen some things where I've also seen some things where where guys coming into the league, superstars in the league today, were guys that came in that were just defense heavy. I mean, I don't have like a ton of examples, but like guys like Kawhi Leonard, he came in, he was a defensive guy, wasn't a great shooter, developed a really good 3-point shot. Jimmy Butler was one of those guys too. So it's not impossible for him to develop into something that we would love, but that's all, it all depends on how everything goes down training.
I mean, the kid's 18 or 19,
he's also 18 years old. And I'd also seen they'd gotten new shooting coach, Fred Vinson.
Pavel Datsyuk.
He's in there for developmental for the Pistons. He's like, this is how you hold a stick. They got a new shooting coach, Fred Vinson, who is very highly regarded in the sense of developing players' shots. I can't remember the guys that I can't remember any of the guys that he had helped, but
they're better now.
But they are better now. I had it and I didn't write it down, so I thought I could just remember it. So we'll see what happens with him. I actually am really interested in the Bobby or Bobby Clinton, or Clintman. I was watching some highlights. I mean, dude can shoot. I think he might actually get. I mean, we don't have a ton of shooters on the team. I think he might actually get some playing time on the court just to get some shots up. If he makes the team, he's got to make the team. But we'll see in summer league.
Oh, he'll make the team.
And yeah, he's making the team.
He's on the squad.
And just to finish it off, I liked the hiring of JB Bickerstaff too. I think we all kind of thought that was probably their main guy that they were going for. But I mean, seeing what he did in Cleveland, he can help develop young guys. He made the playoffs with Cleveland. Arguably Cleveland's best season last year without LeBron. So we'll see. I mean, he knows how to handle with young players, get them going. We'll just see. We'll have to see what happens. At best, Hail Mary throw a 30-win team.
45.
Hail Mary. That's not anything above 14 would be great. So
God, I hope so.
Dear Lord, man, if we're at 15, they ought to fire JB.
Yes.
Well, I go back a couple weeks. I don't know if you guys watched or listened to the Gores Trajan presser, which was a complete. at the beginning was a complete S show. Supposed to start at 3:30, dude. I had my earbuds in at work doing stuff, just waiting for it to start, and it was just I had to listen to elevator music for an hour, thinking like, oh, they're delaying it, maybe there's some big news or something, I don't know. And then they start out saying it was a traffic issue, so that was that they started an hour late because of traffic.
Who wants more drinks?
Yeah, exactly. Then they had some turd from Platinum Equity, which I've never heard that said so many times. Platinum Equity, which is Tom Gore's company, that nobody knows, introducing Gores and Langdon. And he wasn't prepared, so he was like fumbling all over the place right at the beginning. And I was like, dear Lord, man. I was like, this is how the Langdon era starts. Like, at least you could have said something that was decent, like why you were late. You should have lied. Anyway, but the one thing I had held on to during the presser was Langdon. He basically signaled the full rebuild during that presser when he said we'll be looking to take on contracts with assets, which made me knew we weren't making any significant like splashy moves. And the THJ Tim Hardaway Jr. trade was exactly actually what he said he would do, and I have no issue with that, honestly. Pick up a bad contract that's attached to assets, those 3 second-round picks. Grimes is fine. I mean, he's basically a younger Hardaway Jr. with potential to be a better shooter or more, not get injured as often. But I would say to people too, because they were like, well, he was still a young guy. You don't know who he was going to be. I mean, he was been in the league for 5 years, for crying out loud. It's not like Quentin Grimes was going to turn into Klay Thompson, or something, like that was fine. But when Langdon did that, or was saying that, I was like, okay, so we got prepared for the full on rebuild here. And drafting Holland was also another signal that, because he's a developmental athletic player. Hopefully we'll see him play, some real significant minutes here and play well. If he can do as well or a little better than Asar did last season, I guess that's a plus. That you hope he shoots better than Asar and he has that same kind of energy. They're very similar players as far as coming out of the draft. I liked Klintman based on his skill set, and you just got to take a swing in the second round because you never know. But I liked him less when I saw that Michael Tellem was his agent. And so I was like, oh, okay. Well, I was like, those rat bastards, dude, they struck again, like they got another one, dude. Like, what are you doing? You couldn't go one draft or one period without a conflict of interest. Like, this is out of control. Tobias Harris, pretty sure I called that earlier, like during the season. It makes sense. He's a legit vet shooter, a floor spreader on a team that needs it. He's got roots here. I think he had interest in coming back anyway. Looking for one last real payday. Hopefully he plays like he wants another one. Hopefully this isn't the last thing. He's like, all right, I'm out. The only thing I didn't like was using that type of cap space on him, because it's actually the adverse of what I was just talking about earlier about accruing assets with bad contracts. Because after signing him, we're down to like 25, 26 mil in cap space, which really isn't enough to acquire a significant bad contract that they'll send assets with. You got to take on big contracts, and then they'll be like, okay, we'll also give you a first. But I get you also want to field a competitive team, and I think Tobias Harris helps you do that. The thing is, with that cap space taking on bad contracts, and I think about the 3-team trades that were happening out west too, is there were some picks that we could have received, especially considering we don't really have our own first round pick unless we're in the bottom 13 next year. We still get to keep our pick. We have a protected pick in the next 3 years. Eventually that'll go to, I think, the Knicks. I'm not sure. We don't have a second round pick till 2027, which is only due to the Hardaway Jr. trades, which is nice because it's really just capitals. I've talked about previously. Those are really just capital to move up in another draft or take somebody on. But that was one thing that bothered me about the Tobias Harris thing is that, I didn't think it was a crazy contract because he was probably going to get that somewhere. And I don't think it was overpaying, which I was afraid of with Tobias Harris. But is that you limited your cap space and taking on exactly what Langdon was talking about, take on, I can't even, somebody with a really big contract that isn't performing that people just want to get rid of, like Tim Hardaway, except with a first round pick, and now we're limited to that. And the only real move we could do now is to trade for a big piece. And I don't think they're there in the process. You got to keep Cade interested. I'm glad he gave him the deal. I think I mean, what else are you going to do? Especially you're going to bring in Tobias. Okay. If Tim Hardaway can play 80% of the games, I think that's probably a positive. Probably. It's hard to say. Maybe Jaden Ivey can learn some stuff. Just being a vet in the room is probably going to be helpful. Yeah. Tobias Harris, if he can shoot the way he's shot most of his career, that's going to be a super help. I think that's a big bonus for JB Bickerstaff coming in. Is like if he can just set a consistent lineup that makes sense for most of the season, I think even without the additions that we made, you probably have at least a 20-win team if you just play it how you probably should. And you're interested, and you have I don't know if Monty had the ability to make his decisions or not. I'm assuming he did. I just think he was checked out. But I think even with the guys I had last year, that's at least a 20 to 25 win team just by playing who you should play. And he just a normal coach. Like JB's going to look pretty good in his first year because he's at least, I would say, come close to doubling our win total. Especially given that you have a floor spreader with Tobias, as long as he plays. I mean, who knows? Injuries happen, all that stuff. But I like JB, John Blair, Bickerstaff. He's fine. I mean, it's not the Cleveland improved every year except for this last year. They won 3 less games than the year before. But then again, he also had Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. That's a lot about the Pistons, man. They I don't know. I don't even know what I would consider improvement, because if they don't at least win 24 games, which is such a low bar, that is such an incredibly low bar. In Trajan Langdon's press conference, that's the thing that struck me too. He was like, I haven't been in a place where I walked in and there were so many banners. He hadn't worked at a place, and then it kind of hits you like, man, and we just came off a 14-win season. Mm-hmm. This is a place that you look around, you'd be like, okay, there's legends up there. There's championship banners up there. The 6th most in NBA history. Yeah. With 3, which tells you the balance of the league over time, but that's whatever. But Detroit's done it 3 times, and that's a big number compared to the rest of the league. So it's like, yep. You walk in, you see it's been happening here, it's been done here, and he was taken aback by it because he hadn't been in a place that's like that. Then it probably changed him a little bit. Like, okay, so this isn't 14-win franchise. This is the Pistons. They've done it, Anyway, I've gone on way too long on all that stuff, but it was just one of those things. I thought his press conference was interesting. I like him. I just wish the one string attached wasn't that he had been a Tellem client before, just because of all of that over the course of the last 7-8 years. But he seems like a guy that knows what he's doing. It's got to be better. JB Bickerstaff, safe hire. I think, if anything, it's a safe hire. You're not going to get dogged for that.
Well, and you said, he won 3 less games last year than he did the year before, but Donovan Mitchell only played 55 games. Darius Garland only played.
If Donovan Mitchell
57
played
games.
55 games for the Pistons last year, do you think we would have won more than 3 games than the year before?
There's no guarantees with that.
I'd
Who
like
Who
to
does he
say
replace?
yeah.
Who does he replace? I mean,
I guarantee. Yeah.
who does he
even look at
replace?
the lineup and think.
I mean, there's so many
Killian?
options.
No. He's a day one starter.
Did you see he got cut from the French national team?
Yeah. Of course. He sucks. Dude, Killian sucks, and we all saw it.
Yeah, we did see it.
But he got to start 20 to 30 games last year.
Yeah.
For
just to see.
one of the most storied franchises in NBA history.
Just to see what happens.
I'm going to say they win 37 games.
We had this conversation last year.
Yeah, we did.
We all said 30 to 40.
Different. Now, if JB pulls a full-on Monty.
No,
then,
I don't think he's not as checked out as what Monty was when they hired him. You know what I mean? Like, he's just coming up. He probably specifically wanted to go to the Pistons because it's directly against Cleveland. I mean, they let him go after them making the conference semifinals last year. Semis, not the conference finals.
Yeah, I mean, they improved in the playoffs. They made it around further every year. I mean, he's doing a good job. I mean, there were rumors he lost the locker room, all that stuff, and that wouldn't fly here because if he loses the locker room, we're screwed. With the young guys, I mean,
definitely.
So, why didn't we draft Bronny?
We had 2 chances.
Instead, we traded up to get a Tellem client.
Because they probably were going to, and they was like, listen, if you're going to draft him, he's just going to go play in Australia.
He's not going to sign. But what could we have traded him for?
To the Lakers?
Yeah. Whenever they have another first round pick, they're probably in as bad of a pick situation as we are.
All right, well.
Yeah, if we are not the 13th, if we don't get the 13th worst pick or 13th or higher or lower, I don't know how you look at it, between 1 and 13, then we have no picks next year.
I'm sure we'll be within that range.
And we'll have 1 pick in 26.
And then we'll get the worst possible pick we can have, percentage-wise. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be sweet.
So we could potentially only have 1 pick in the next 2 seasons.
Yeah.
That's not great for a rebuild. That's why the Tobias thing. That's why I brought up the Tobias. We needed that money available to take on a bad contract that had a pick, another pick, a big pick. So,
big pick.
We'll see what he has up his sleeve.
We'll see. I trust him. I mean, why not trust him?
Right.
We got no choice. Yeah. He's here, and he seems like a good basketball dude. I don't know. Yeah. He's got to be better than Troy Weaver.
He's sponsored by Platinum Equity.
Yeah, exactly.
Aren't
great company.
So, all right, before we get into the weekly Tigers update, we want to bring up Adobo Boy because they are back. We're back. Woo! They're back. They're all the officials. We're all back. They are the official sponsor of the BDE Sports Talk podcast. Dean, Eddie, and myself are Filipinos.
What?
We love a good Filipino.
Hey.
And Adobo Boy delivers just that with their amazing food and vibes that are unmatched in the food industry. Dean and I, we've been there. Eddie, you've been there.
I've been there.
We've been there. Enjoyed it. Love it.
Had one of their pork skewers at the festival.
Delicious.
Delicious. Delicious.
Not only do they have delicious food, They also go against the grain of a traditional restaurant and tinker with their menu to bring you an amazing variety of Filipino cuisine. Their menu rotates weekly, so there's always reason to come back to try more authentic Filipino food. Dean, it's been a month. Do you remember that delicious pork adobo bowl? That's an iconic Filipino dish.
I'm pretty sure it's engraved in my memory now.
It better be.
What
You
was
love
it
it so
again?
much.
Was it chicken? It's tender pork braised in soy sauce and vinegar on a bed of rice with Jackie's achara or papaya salad, and cucumber and a fried egg on top. It is very delicious. I like to eat everything separately, like Ace recommends. Bill and Ed both like to mix it all up like savages and eat it like that. I'd I'd say buy two and try it for yourself. See what you like better.
We might be savages, but you might be a psychopath.
Probably.
You
Well, yeah.
separate every little thing. You have one
I
grain of
eat
rice at
one,
a time.
yeah, one grain of rice.
Takes me 3 hours to get through one adobo bowl.
It's worth every hour, though.
Oh,
Worth
heck
it.
yeah.
Worth every time.
Well done, Dean. You do remember. So if you're into trying new and different food or just like some amazing adobo and vibes, stop into Adobo Boy. Runners Ace, Jackie, and Red are amazing people who genuinely care about your experience there. Eddie, tell the people what they win if they stop into Adobo Boy.
What do they win? What don't you win? You win it all, baby. I mean, one, you walk in, you win a great atmosphere instantly. Instantly, you notice how great of an atmosphere it is. Two, you're going to win amazing food just by purchasing it. And when you purchase it, you're also going to get 5% off just by saying BD Sports Talk Podcast at the register. That's it. You just say BD Sports Talk Podcast. They take 5% off just for the pleasure of hearing you say it. You get great food at a discounted price in a great place. You really can't beat it.
No, you cannot. And if you would like to get that 5% off, Adobo Boy is open Tuesday to Friday, 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. for lunch and 5 to 7:30 p.m. for dinner. On Saturday, same schedule, except they are open for dinner until 8:30 p.m. Adobo Boy is located at 3740 28th Street, Southeast Kentwood, Michigan, and is inside the amazing Myanmar restaurant. 3 restaurants, Adobo Boy right in the middle. Brunch and Rice, I think, is the third one. They're pretty good as well. But get that adobo. So get there, get fed, get happy. It's always better at Adobo Boy. Now for the Tigers update. Well, fellas,
they're crushing it.
Crushing it. The boys took 2 of 3 from the White Sox, 1 of 3 from Philly, 1 of 4 from the Angels, and lost Tuesday to the Twins in a game where they were up 3-2, but never felt like I had the confidence that they were going to win. Makes them 4-7 in the 2 weeks that we were, or I guess, 2 weeks. 16 games back in the Central and 8 games back in the wild card heading into July, which, I mean, I know we're in July right now, but early stages. Fellas, is it time to start thinking football?
Yeah. There's not a whole lot much more I can say that we haven't said 1,000 times.
Non-believer.
They're not hitting well?
They're not hitting well. they're still
since when
struggling at the plate. And you can't sustain winning if you can't hit the ball. That's literally half the game. So yeah. That's all I got. That's all I got for Tigers.
I mean, yeah, first thing I have here is season's over. It really is. I mean, we talked about it before, first week of July. You're 8 games back from the last wild card spot. It's disheartening. I mean, you better trade Flaherty before he throws another goober. I'm not fully on board with trading Skubal as opposed to extending, but I think you got to take the phone calls when they call about him. If you can get 3 to 4 legit MLB ready hitters / prospects with one of those being a pitcher, I think you really got to think about it. We're probably 4 everyday decent hitters away from having a team. I mean, after Riley Green, I really don't know who the future of that lineup is. I mean, Perez could be, Colt Keith possibly, Henry Malloy. It's so hard to say. I mean, Canna should be your number 7 hitter, right? Urshela should be somewhere in 5 to 7 also. These guys are regularly hitting in the 2 to 4 spots, and they probably won't even be here next year. So ship those guys out too for something, a pop machine in the clubhouse. I mean, honestly, because they're not going to be around, and we're not making the playoffs. Get something. The one thing the staff has proven is that they can develop some pitching. Although Casey Mize has done okay, but now he's back on the shelf. I mean, I don't know if that guy will ever truly materialize. It's unfortunate that he got picked 1-1 because I think it carries so much more weight being the first overall pick. When really he's a fine, especially when he can be a fine 5th, 4th, 5th guy, maybe even a reliever guy and be good at it. But being 1-1, you expect Paul Skeens, and that's obviously not Casey Mize's ceiling has been mostly hit. So I really don't want to see Skubal go, but if you can get young legit hitters with contract control for a few years, that's hard not to take. I'd hate to see him go because if they can actually get some nice pieces around, but he'd be the guy you got to give to get those pieces. I guess Flaherty, even though now he's got these back issues, might scare people away, but maybe he's just saving himself. And obviously that'd be a conversation that GMs can have on the phone, be like, he's really he knows he's moving, so he's just trying not to put more innings on his arm. Who knows? I mean, I'm just hoping that's the case because they could probably get at least 1 or 2 decent prospects for him. He's gone after this year too. I mean, I don't know why we signed Maeda to 2 years and Flaherty to 1. I mean, I guess I get it, but now, retrospect's 50-50 or whatever. Hindsight's 50-50. So it's easy to be like, oh, well,
Well, they would have kept Scherzer instead of Anibal Sanchez. If you go back hindsight.
Says you.
Says me.
Scherzer, what did he do after he left Detroit?
Weirdo with weird eyes.
Yeah, what a weirdo.
What a weirdo.
But that's it. The performance on the field speaks for itself. I didn't feel any need to really go over that. I mean, they're out. It's over now, barring a legitimate miracle. Take the phone calls when people call about Skubal.
You gotta at least listen.
Hear what they got to say. You got to hear. You got to listen. Like I said, the one thing that it seems to be going pretty okay is the pitching. So Jackson Job's in the pipeline. Matt Manning seems all right. I mean, you don't have to have an MVP level pitcher to win a World Series, but you got to have 5 decent bats in your lineup.
Yeah.
Decent. No, I mean, and 1 really good one. I mean, we don't have that.
What do you mean? We got Akil Baddoo.
Sure. The ghost of Akil Baddoo.
Dude, he is so bad.
Yeah,
he's not even a good outfielder. I mean, I don't like ripping on dudes, but he's just not a MLB player.
No. He's another 4A guy. That's what we have. We have 4A guys littered through the lineup. Guys who can come in, play once a week against a matchup, twice a week against a matchup. We don't, and guys that could be a full-time starter for your AAA club and be ready to come up anytime. We don't have a lineup of guys that you want to run out there 5 days a week. You don't have Polanco, Mags, Cabrera, Sean Casey sitting there ready to just, you'd be like, okay, that's a hard lineup. Curtis Granderson at the top of that lineup. Think about those 5. And we had other guys.
Polanco.
He said
Polanco.
Oh, he said Polanco.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, we at minimum had 5 guys. They'd be like, okay, you got to pitch. You got to pitch to these guys.
Someone said they should just sign Craig Monroe and let him bat clean up. Yikes. Can't be any worse than Badu hitting 115.
I'm not sure he's the guy to sign right now.
On a legend contract or
on a Predator contract, maybe.
You
guys seen that stuff?
On?
Yeah.
Oh no, see money.
Yeah, that's why he's not around at the moment.
Yikes! What's Marcus Thames doing these days?
I'll take Tim's. Great guy every time.
Man, we were so worried guy. About.
You throw him as your 6th bat, and you're like, dang, like that's.
Oh, Marcus.
That's what we're talking about. Anyway, sorry, Bill.
Carlos Guillen too.
Carlos Guillen. You
Brandon
kidding me?
Inge. All right, maybe not Brandon.
He hit where you should. 8th, 9th, great glove.
He did. Fantastic.
You don't need 7 of those in your lineup. We don't even have 7 of those. If we had 7 great gloves, at least we'd have that.
We just got guys. They're just guys.
We just got dudes that are happy to be there.
Yeah, they're like, I can
because they wouldn't be anywhere else.
I can hit a ball 10% of the time. That works.
Maybe when so bad.
Yeah.
Akil Baddoo has 52 at bats. He has 6 hits.
Okay, all right.
That's more than that's
strikeouts.
Double what I thought.
You got to give him time. He's developing that.
Him and Beef are just in the lab right now.
In the lab.
The
he's got a great 3-point shot.
Right there,
he's got a great 3-point shot. I'm telling you.
Switch them. Put Beef on the Tigers. Put Baddoo in the starting lineup for the freaking Pistons. And maybe.
Beef isn't undersized anymore if he comes to the Tigers. That's for sure.
The good thing is Zach McKinstry. Good thing is Zach McKinstry's hitting 180. So.
Oh, Zach McKinstry?
Yeah. Gotta be in your lineup every day. Gotta be.
Always smiling. Always in a good mood.
Bring up the kid we traded for last year. He's sounds like he's doing really well. I think he's Japanese. I can't think of his. I can't say his name like off the top of my head without it being insulting. But we traded for him last year. Good prospect. Last I heard he was hitting real nice. It's like, why not just bring these guys up then? Because you're going to insult Zach McKinstry? Dude, who cares?
You don't want to
honestly,
piss off Zach
no
McKinstry.
offense, Zach McKinstry, who's never going to watch this. But who cares, man? He'll come back up when you tell him to come back up. I guarantee it. And nobody's trading for him. So just bring the kid up. Get him some swings. Maybe just at least a taster, and then send him back down if it's just not working.
They'll just keep him up.
I mean, why not?
Once they're up, they're up. There's no sending them back down.
Torque went back.
That's true.
Yeah, but that took how many games?
That took another 1-1.
And he wasn't even our worst
first
bat.
Pick, first
he wasn't
round.
Even the worst bat in the lineup.
I know.
He gets guys like Baddoo up there.
We're also worried about Miguel Cabrera just being done. I mean, he could still hit 230.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, you might as well plug him back in. I wasn't worried about being done. I was like, why can't we use that cash for something else? And then we didn't at all. We have the eighth lowest payroll in baseball.
You talking about Jace Young?
No, I'm not talking about Jace Young. He's on the IL right now. I think he's on like the 7-day IL, Jace Young. But that's somebody I've talked about before that needs to come up. The problem is they're log jammed with second baseman. Put one of those guys at short. It's not that crazy, okay? They're professional baseball players. A second baseman can play short, I'm telling you, or third.
We're locked at short. We don't need a short.
We're locked between McKinstry and whoever we find this week.
Keston Hiura.
No, that's not who I'm talking about. This kid might be in Lakeland. Honestly,
he was Asian.
I know who Keston Hiura is. He's played in the big leagues before.
Let's check out anyways.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. These guys
bring
suck.
it up next week.
These guys suck.
Sorry, I mean, I
just take the calls if they're calling for Scooble. See what they got. Make it a Godfather offer at least. Don't do an El Avila deal. If you're trying to Google who I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure he was traded in the Lorenzen trade last year. That we got him in the Lorenzen trade.
You know who you forgot in that lineup with Miguel and Mags is Pudge. Yeah, about Pudge.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. That's a lineup.
That
is a lineup.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Craig Money.
We look at them in a higher, SEMO.
Hayuli.
He has an epic moment.
Yes,
Hayuli.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The kid. Last I heard, he was slugging down where he's at. At least move him up to Erie if he's not there.
He's with the Erie right now.
Okay.
Batting 296.
I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
guys
better
go
than
from
Javi Baez in
AA
Toledo.
I'm sure. Guys from AA go up to the bigs all the time with worse than that.
It's true.
I
we
mean,
have
come
them.
on,
We have
dude.
them.
The kid's doing good.
they're on the squad already.
I mean, if you're hitting 300 in AA, dang near.
Hit about.
That's worth a look.
220 up.
We don't want to block them. Who are we blocking them with? Colt Keith.
Keith.
They invested in
them.
Then
one of them. Well, not Colt Keith. Maybe put Hayuli at short or third.
But you got Javi and McKinstry there.
Yeah, we're locked.
Where?
We're locked at shortstop.
Yeah, we're good.
They can still play short. Put Hayuli at third.
We're pretty locked up there.
I mean, Matt Vierling's playing there.
I'm not really seeing a weak spot in the lineup, to be honest.
Put him in right field. Who cares? The kid might hit the ball.
How about you put Malloy in the outfield? You send Akil Baddoo to the McDonald's down the street, and you bring this kid up and let him DH.
Yeah, whatever. I love it. I love it. I love it all. Let Henry Roy. I think Henry Roy just hit his 4th or 6th home run. Like, the kid's got a potential.
Got like 9.
He's got potential power.
Let's get you guys up and hit then, if we're not trying to block them.
Sorry, Akil. You're not playing well.
No, he hasn't played since that 1 year.
His rookie year.
I don't want you to go to McDonald's.
Maybe you
need a franchise.
I do that enough for him. He doesn't need to go.
So, all right. Enough of this. Enough of this nonsense. It was an update. So, all right. let's get out of here. Great to be back. Thank you, everyone, for watching this week's episode and all the episodes actually during our first year. It's been quite the ride, fellas. We're gonna start having to get into college football previews soon.
Can't wait, man.
I know, me too. So, if you liked what you watched or heard today or this week, be sure to like the video, hit us up with a comment. Let us know how you're feeling about the Red Wings, Pistons, or Tigers. If you think the Tigers are going to turn around and make the playoffs. Check out our last episode from 2 weeks ago. Below me, hit the logo next to Eddie and below Dean to subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. So hit the notification bell so you know when we come out with the next new episode. And if you're listening, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. For Dean and Eddie, this is Bill saying everyone have a great week and see you next time on the BDE Sports Talk Podcast.
Sports Talk.